Here's my second video on manual digitizing. If you haven't seen the first video yet, I'll go ahead and put a link on there and you can go back and watch that one and give you a little bit of background on what I'm trying to do here without explaining it all again. This time we're going to take the same letter, but we're going to digitize it assuming this letter is going to be sewn smaller, and this time we're going to shoot for a range that's like 1/2 inch, maybe down to 1/4 inch lettering. So we'll do a few things different this time around, and just to give you an idea of what I do different when I do something smaller, and the same thing when it's bigger. You could see that in the first video. So this time around we're going to use basically our same tools. We're going to use a running stitch. We're going to throw in a couple manual stitches, but other than that our classic satin stitch will be used also. So to start out with here, I'm going to get my running stitch tool, and we're going to assume that we're starting down here in the lower left hand corner. So we're going to go ahead and put our running stitches in. And first off, you'll see the running stitches I use because I'm doing something smaller here is the running stitches that we're using for our underlay are going to be on the wider leg of the A here. We're going to use separation between it to get the maximum use out of that underlay closer to the edge, and on the skinny leg we're just going to leave it right down the middle because we don't want to get any closer to that edge, or we risk the chance of when we shrink this letter down to 1/4 inch, we'd risk the chance of that underlay stitch peeking out from underneath that column, and that wouldn't look real good. So we'll go ahead and leave it down the middle when we do our skinny leg here, and I'll finish off the foot of this and right click there, and that will be our underlay stitch that we're going to manually lay down. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our satin tool, and I'm using the classic satin tool, which allows me to pick not only the shape of our design but also the stitch directions as I digitize. I don't need to define it later. As I'm digitizing it, I define the direction by where I put the first 2 points and the next 2 points and the next 2 after that define the direction of the stitches. So our first 2 points are going to be along this, and this time around I'm just going to stop right here in the middle of this. We don't want to end on the right hand side of this serif of the A, or we're going to have basically worked ourselves into a corner. So we're going to stop in the middle. I'll right click, you can see those stitches, and then we'll start this one lower right to the up to the top, and then the 3-4 right back in the middle there. So it's going to go left to right and then right to left, come right in the middle here. So we're ready to go up the leg of the A. So we'll put our first 2 points, 1 and 2 there, our second 2 points, the third and fourth point we're going to put right there, and I'll right click, you can see the stitches, then we'll work up to here. Now the last time we did this a little differently. This time we're going to show you a different technique, and the technique actually could be used at both sizes, but this is a different technique that I use to treat this overlap that we have here in the A. So what I'm going to do is once we're up to there, I'm going to get my running stitch tool, and we're going to put some running stitches until we get over here to this side of this cross member of the A. Then we'll go back to our satin tool, and we're going to go ahead and digitize this. There's 1 and 2, the third and fourth points right there, and I right clicked, and that makes our stitches come right back to there. Now what we've done here is, since we brought this column up past the crossbar, there's no reason to worry about where these two meet, especially at this smaller size, because we've now passed that, and this column stitch is not going to pull this one open because this one was actually put in last. So there's no reason to worry about our feathering of our stitches or anything, and this goes a little quicker and actually will work a little better at the smaller size. Now the next thing I'm going to do is just continue on with that same satin tool, and we're going to go work our way up here to the top, and we can go right up here to where these 2 legs of the A meet, and so there's 4 points there. Right click, our stitches are generated up to here. Now the last time around we did some overlap up here at a smaller size. It's just much easier to do what I call capping the letter, and I'm going to do that by just since our stitches have worked their way up to here, I'm going to start over here. That'll keep my thread going across right on an angle here, not get in the way of anything. And we'll do our first and second point right there, and then our third and fourth we'll do there, just like that. And when I right click, that will actually generate stitches for the cap of that letter. And so rather than worrying about where to get these to overlap, we're going to make that one wide stitch, and that will look fine at lettering, let's say 1/2 inch or smaller, maybe even bigger too, but you couldn't go real big with that, or the stitches right in this area could get really wide if you were sewing this at 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, something like that. The overlap technique is going to work a lot better. So we've got that done. Then we can just continue on with our same tool, and we're going to come down. So there's 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Right like that. I'm going to right click. Now this column has come down to meet right here. Now what we've had happen is this column has now pulled this open. If this was going to be in the 1/2 inch range, maybe 3/4 of an inch range, since we didn't feather that cross member in there, what we can do is that's already pulled that open. What we can do is just go to our manual tool and step back over here with a stitch, put a stitch back up here and back down. And what we've done is now we've filled in that little opening that column stitch has pulled open by just putting a stitch up and back, which will fill that gap in. We can go right back to our classic satin stitch tool here. We'll do a 1, 2 there, and I'm going to go ahead and feather the bottom of this. We won't have to worry about doing that little manual stitch in there. I'll right click there. Then I'm going to go ahead and put another column right across there. So we'll do 1, 2, and we can go all the way across on this one. 3 and 4, right click, and now we've got the bottom leg of that A in there, and we've ended right here. At that point we'd be ready to move right on to our next letter. So that video gets a little bit shorter for you because we kind of explains what we're doing in the first one. Hopefully you picked up a couple things on there. If you go back and remember here, the last time we feathered this cross member in here, this time we did 2 different techniques. One was to put it in after we go past it on this side, and the other technique was to go past it on this side and put a manual stitch back and forth there, and usually just back and forth once like that will fill in any gap that this is made by pulling that open. Then we just continued on down here, and we used our feathering technique down here where this crosses that wider column, and that would be more important to use that feathering technique here, because the wider the column is, when this goes over top of it, the bigger the gap it's going to pull open, and that feathering technique will keep you from having any problem there. So as you can see, there's a couple other techniques, a couple different ways we would change things as we do lettering that is smaller. So hopefully everybody gets something out of that video, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to post some comments, and I'll try to answer them, and if I don't like the question, I'll just ignore it, and then we'll all be happy. So hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next video here, probably doing another one here on manual digitizing. So see you in the next video.